So, if you're up to date, you'll know that we achieved promotion to the Football League last year, and now comes the transfer special, and we've strengthened up. We've got a pretty good side together. Watch now for the season review and the transfer special. Roll intro. Hi and welcome to episode 18 and the start of the review and transfer special. If you're unaware, we're promoted to the Football League and we were promised to be professional on the 6th of the 7th, so the 6th of July, a couple of weeks away. So let's get things underway. Players inducted into Alfreton overall best 11. So our best 11 is Dewhurst in goal, Adu Pepper on the left, Ibrahim Tal in the centre, Odesina comes in, Johnson on the right. Van Korvenberg still holding down that defensive midfield role, but Magoma joins Otranto in the centre. Whitaker takes that left berth, and Najari is holding on to that right spot despite Kimpioka and two decent seasons. Angel, who is a club favourite, is there. Let's have a look how he did for the season. 4 goals in 7 games. He's a fringe player at the club. If he was still here, he'd still be our 5th choice striker. I still think it was the right decision. Probably the wrong decision was the players that we brought in up until the end. So the season awards: fans player of the season, Umberto Otranto with 78%. There wasn't going to be any other person. He was just magnificent, even when he was struggling with a bit of fitness. Goal this season, Alessio Zerbin. Let's have a look at this goal then. This was against Macclesfield. For me, it was Taylor Crossdale's goal, but Zerbin running through all on his own, strikes and top corner, and that's Zerbin. Goal of the season. Sign of the season, Timmy Odesina, who is our centre back and young player of the season, so takes both accolades. Umberto Otranto, 22 years old. And so our team of the season was Dewhurst in goal, Johnson at right, Odesina, Odemea in the centre, Sola on the left, Estrada taking that defensive midfield position, Magoma and Otranto with Kimpioka on the right, Zerbin on the left, and Taylor Crossdale up front. Alfreton season review. The highlight: Emirates FA Cup 3rd round against Manchester, runners-up in the National League, and we lost in the 4th round of the FA Trophy to Bromley. Match of the season, a 5-0 victory over Chorley. Moment to forget, the 3-0 defeat by Fylde, and it was awful. Average attendance 1,201, and we used 34 players for the season. The club vision: the club want to play attacking football, high tempo football. Let's have a look at this in negotiation. So, attacking football, which we've come away from but probably may go back to in the league football. High tempo pressing, which we do play. Work within the wage budget, which we have been. Next season, mid-table in League 2, which is doable. Season after, top half finish, and the season after that, League 2, and then win promotion in 5 years, which I think is all doable. I do want to see if we can take this attacking football off. Just if we want to play that more balanced, we can go for it, and we do get that. So as long as we play this high tempo, we've got options now to do that, and that has been signed. So, squad dynamics for the season. So, Otranto and Johnson are our team leaders. Kimpioka's highly influential. Other influential players are Odemeo and Odesina. Literally, it's the backbone of the team there. End of season meeting. It's been a great season. You've all done brilliant to get promoted. I'm going to give you all a chance next campaign. That is not going to happen. We do need to strengthen up. Been brilliant to get us promoted this season. You all deserve a good break. Hopefully when we get back there will be some new faces around here that can help us with a mid-table finish. That is great and everybody agrees. Injury report. So let's do that by injuries. The most injured player, Chow Now, 3 weeks, 7 weeks, Ethan Robson. These 2, 3, 4 of these players aren't going to be probably with us next season. 5 with Salido. Age we've got to have a look at, currently with an injury another 2 days. That's his 3rd since he's been with us. Whitaker, who's on loan, Lopez on loan, Romero. So a lot of these injuries where we've got 5 weeks here, 4 months from Salido, a damaged Achilles tendon. These are all solvable on those players if we wish. Club will return on the 21st of June. Cobo secures promotion. So Cobo on loan at York finally getting promotion up with Cobo. And also securing promotion was Tillman Yarn, who secured promotion with Bromley. Leon Valentin with Bromley. Kamari Paris was unable to save Slough from relegation though. In other news, Otranto was claimed player of the season in the National League. And goal of the season goes to Zerbin for the goal we've just seen against Macclesfield Town. So let's have a look at the stats for the first team as we leave it here. And so most goals was Martel Taylor Crossdale with 13 goals and 2 assists, followed closely behind by Benjamin Kimpioka with 11 goals and 5 assists. An honourable mention for Angel, who had 10 goals in his first 14 games, and you look to imagine what it would have been like if we'd have kept him. Otranto with 8 goals, Morgan Whitaker with 8 goals, Zerbin with 7 goals, Agai with 6, Magoma with 6, and then we have Odesina, Karamatang, Sola, Doherty, De La Fuente, Odemeo, Obe, Boys and Chiori Johnson also. In regards to assists, Umberto Otranto, who tops last season, 14 in the league, only 8 last season, but 17 overall this season. Magoma, not really closely behind, but the next best with 10. Then Sola with 8, Johnson with 8. The wing backs, Whitaker with 6, Kimpioka with 5, and then 2 down for Aina, Crossdale, Estrada, Karayamatang, Zerbin, Doherty, Odesina and Boys. Best average rating, Umberto Otranto with 7.77, followed by a guy on 7.44, and then the rest all above 7, Zerbin, Kimpioka, Sola, Magoma, Crossdale, Odesina and Johnson. And just falling shy of that we have De La Fuente, Odemeo and Boys, as well as a worthy mention for Jonathan Dubai, our standing keeper in the League Cup, in the national final. If we look at the final table, we know we've been promoted, but we see Aldershot on 100 points, Alfreton on 94 points, followed by Barnet on 92, the top 2 going up this season. We see relegation places filled by Ebbsfleet, Harrogate, Maidenhead and Chelmsford. Top scorer in the division was Colby Bishop with 25, followed by Timmy Abraham and Liam McAlinden with 20 and 17 respectively. Man of the Match awards goes to Otranto with 11, then Jake Andrews with 9 and Callum Gribben on 7. Average ratings, Alberto Otranto on 7.74, Callum Gribben on 7.42, and then Jake Andrews on 7.34. Clean sheets goes to Mitch Walker on 26. We already knew that, but Marcus Dewhurst follows up behind with 19, taking over from Scott Loach on 19. Assists for the season, Ben Winter staying up there with 16, Otranto on 14 and Callum Gribben on 12. And then dirty players for the season, Mr. Robbie Tinkler, Aaron Bulger and Bobby Grant. Let's also have a look at teams that we won't be meeting next season. Swindon Town and Plymouth, those 2 going down. Grimsby, Port Vale and Notts County will also not be playing us, as Notts County get back-to-back promotions, and those 3 will be in League 1 football next season, either Bristol Rovers and Newport. Bolton Wanderers, that is a shock. They don't go up this season. No more shocks in there really. Chesterfield, who came up last season, stay up, and they also have Jake Hurst as the top scorer. That's a man I wanted to bring, who was never interested in a million years to the club. Also, we need to look at who's coming down. We've already seen it once, but Forest Green, Doncaster and Wimbledon aren't shocks, but Sunderland will be in League 2 next season. That is a massive shock. And let's have a look to see their first team: McLaughlin, O'Neill, Flanagan, Willis, McLaughlin, Mumba, Dobson, Duffy, Maguire, Mackay and White, who scored 16 goals for a relegated team. This team should not be in League 2 and will be. In other news, the board have announced plans to build new seats and standing areas at the ground to raise the total capacity to 1,250. The expansion will cost almost $1 million. Additional funding as well will take 5 months to complete, but will give us right, we're just converting the seats, so I think we've actually lost a bit of capacity there. I think that reduces down by 600. Let's have a look at the squad depth then as we enter the league football next season. Dewhurst will remain with us. I do think he probably will be the number one. He's an England under-20 international, and then Dubai his understudy. I don't think we're going to get much better than that. What we do need to look at is this right berth, because once Aina, who is now not even as good as Odemeo on that side, and Johnson only rated 2.5 star there, Johnson's probably not going to be much better than where he is. He's probably national level, so we will need to have a look at that. Della Fuente is our leading central defender, but we have an amazing array of talent with 3 Nigerians, Odemeo, Odesina and Obe, plus what we have in development. Left hand side we have Solar and Boys. Solar has been pretty good. Boys, he's okay as an understudy. It probably does need strengthening when you look at those two sides. And so probably another central defender, a left and a right back. Otranto definitely will be staying next season. Where we play him we're not sure, but we have 3 choices, 2 of which we can switch around, but probably looking to move some of those on, like Estrada and Doherty, but we'll see on there. Kimpioka will not be with us next season, which means once Kimpioka goes back and Whittaker is likely to go back, we're going to have a look at that. A guy really can't play there. He's alright if you've got injuries, but he's not for there. So our strongest player is Kiramatang, who isn't going to be good enough for League 2 football. On the left, Zerbin, who would play instead of Whittaker, and so we don't necessarily need Whittaker unless he's going to come in as to share the burden on that left side, which means we don't need to strengthen, because I don't think we pay anything for Whittaker. So if we can get that again, it might be good in the next division up. We are short on those wings. Up front we have a guy. We'll have to see whether we want a guy to lead the line next year. Taylor Crossdale's not going to come back. Armstrong's going to be released. Kimpioka can't play up there. Kairamatan can't play up there, so we are short. So like last season, a few additions need to be made, but the spine of the side with the likes of De La Fuente, Odemeo, Odesina, Obe, Sola, Otranto, Johnson if he decides to stay around as a backup, with then Kikonda, Magoma, and then Doherty and Estrada. Then we have Zerbin, and it's probably this area that is the most important. So maybe a few signings to get us up, but it depends what becomes available. And a shock, but we're not even in the top 3 for I'm not even in the top 3 for manager of the year. Danny Searle understandably gets that, and then Joe Dunn, who lost in the playoff semi-final to us, is second, and Matt Gray for Sutton, who finished 9th in the Nations League, is third. Go figure, lost 13 games and was he was 31 points behind the winner, which was Danny Searle. So it's a shock we're not even in the places. Interesting. Tactical voting from the other guys, I think. With a place in Sky Bet League 2 assured, it is officially confirmed the club will go full-time with immediate effect. In addition, the Alfreton Town board have also increased the amount of staff I am able to hire. We are hit with a tax bill of £170,000. That's because of the profits that we have made. And I have signed a new contract at £1,300 per week for another season. New scouting budget of £25,000, which isn't too shabby. That's probably a bit high. That's probably more like it. Just shows how much you can't scout because you'll spend all your budget. It's confirmation of new contract. It's actually a 2-year contract. I thought it was a year, but it's a 2-year contract. £1,400 per week, with a promotion wage rise and a relegation wage drop in there. Confirmation that the scouting range has now been upgraded now to the UK and Ireland. On to the transfers. It's been a busy transfer window. I have a long list to go through, so let's get on with it. Still trying to bring in a few members, and so we already knew about a lot of these which had joined on the 4th. I will go through a couple of the outstanding ones. A lot of them are just youth players. Xavier Simmons joined from Chelsea. He's now on loan at Macclesfield. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He's a defensive midfielder who can also play that midfield centre and will be in the National League this season. Bashir Humphreys, already now 4 caps for Uganda since joining us. Another one of these on £8 per week. 2-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. Problem is, a lot of these signed when we were part-time, we're now full-time, and they don't want to talk about new contracts yet, so we do have to sort that out. Ben Elliott is a Cameroonian central midfielder, 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He joined us from Chelsea. Jacob Odrinski is a 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, Polish 18-year-old goalkeeper. He's on £150 per week. Again, problem is he signed when we were part-time contract, so we're waiting on that. And he joined us from Liverpool. A guy who isn't far off the first team. A right back, 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. He's on £80 a week. Problem is, he's on a part-time contract, which isn't the worst thing in the world because he's not costing as much, but he isn't training full-time and his progression is going to be limited. So we need to get him sorted ASAP. He joined from Manchester City. We then can come down to Max Robson. This is another one. He's on loan at Solihull Moors. He's a 2-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability. Is an attacking midfielder, can also be trained as a striker, and he's okay in that position. He joined us from Tottenham. And then Louis Lomas, 2.5-star current ability. I think he's a 4-star potential ability. 20-year-old central defender, joined us from Norwich. Is on a full-time contract. But if we have a look, it won't let me now, he's on loan. He can't get near the first team at the moment, so we've loaned him out. Bromley will be paying those wages. Then we brought in Fiseo Deli Basharu, 2-star current ability, his 3.5-star potential ability, is a Mazzala, is now on loan with Maidenhead, joined us from Manchester City. And then Romain Salard, 2.5-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, Portuguese goalkeeper, joined us from Paris Saint-Germain, is now on loan at SA Spinalian. Ousmane Stéphanus, a 19-year-old French right back who was my first choice right back for the season until, which I'll show you later. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential ability, joined us from the Juventus under-23 team, who they paid $39,000 for from Nancy. He looks a very good prospect, but you'll see why. He's a fringe player now. He is on a fair whack because we thought he was going to be the first choice, but I found somebody who I think will rip this division up on that right hand side. We then signed Zsombor Senko, a 18-year-old Hungarian goalkeeper, 2.5 star current ability, 4 star potential ability, and joined us from Juventus. We then we were struggling for a striker, and I wanted a striker, and we couldn't find one anywhere, and those that wanted to come were either the transfer fee was going to be too high, or they would choose other clubs, or we couldn't afford the wages on the loan. Jay Stansfield Jones paying 1,100 of his wages. He has some pretty incredible stats for an 18-year-old. He joins us from Fulham. He was on loan at Carlisle last year, played 9 games, scored 2 goals, and we take him this year. He has already hit 6 in his first 3 friendlies, and so he's a 3.5 star current ability, 5 star potential ability, and could be with us for a couple of seasons if we can. Then we signed Fiseo's brother, Tom Deli Bashiru, joins us on loan from Watford. We'll be paying £2,000 of his wages, a 3.5 star current ability, 5 star potential ability, and should do well in this league. We then signed Alex Myton, who is a 19-year-old English right winger, is where we're going to be playing, but can also play on that left hand side and drop back if we decided to. He's a 3-star current ability, 5-star potential ability, was on loan in the division above last season and got 14 games. We then signed Hubert Idasiak, who is a 90-year-old Polish goalkeeper, 2.5-star current ability, 4-star potential ability, and arrives from Napoli. We found a couple of under 18 players that we wanted to bring in to strengthen that under 18s team. We have 1-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. We're paying him £120 per week, and that'll go up to 150 in April. He was previously with Leipzig. We then signed Jose Guidele, who isn't as good as we thought, but we will be playing him on the bench in our game because we are short of either injuries or fitness. Joins us from Bayer Leverkusen, 16-year-old, 1.5-star current ability, 2.5-star potential ability, but does have some pretty good stats for a 16-year-old, especially at this level. An old favourite, Rocky Santa Cruz. He is 39. 111 caps for Paraguay. He's a 2.5-star current ability. He isn't getting any better. He's 39. He will predominantly get worse throughout the season. He is retiring at the end of the season. I bought him in because of the struggles that we were having. And he is our second best striker at the club, ahead of Aaron Pilkington, who you will meet soon, and Morgan Whittaker, who can play up there. He is a leading player for most National League sides, so should be okay as a backup striker until we can find somebody to come in, and we are looking. We then signed Jaden Brown, who is a 22-year-old left wing back, 3-star current ability, 4-star potential ability. He was a free transfer from Huddersfield. It was released by Huddersfield. He was in League 2 last year, 37 games. He looks pretty decent. He takes over from Solar, and it's a good job we signed him because I think Solar's out for the first game, although I think Jaden Brown's out, to be honest. So it's Morgan Boys, who started last season, who's probably going to play. We signed Aaron Pilkington, who is a 2-star current ability, 3.5-star potential ability. We are paying him a bit much for what he is. He joined us from Leeds. He's an impact sub. He'll probably start to take over from Rocky Santa Cruz if we fail to get anybody else in. He was at Geyser last year, 6 in 14, 2 divisions below, so he does need to step up again. And this is the man that knocked off Stephanus. Kane Wilson, an English 21-year-old right wing back with a 3.5-star current ability, 5-star potential ability. Those stats are pretty good. We've got him on, and we've got him for another 3 years. He's on 2.9k, and we paid 100k for him. One of a few that we paid for. I think we only paid for 2 players. He was at Tranmere on loan, has been for the last 2 seasons. Didn't play in... Oh yes, he did. He must have come back. So he played 15 games, returned back, didn't play any games, and then returned again in League 2. So he's played at this level. We then wanted to fill that midfield centre just so we've got some cover in there, and Lasse Sorensen joins us on loan from Stoke. He's a deep line playmaker, can also play in other positions. There's a 3.5 star current ability, 5 star potential ability, and but for the 5-player rule could have been starting in the first game because he's as good as Tom Deli Bashiru. But Otranto is our captain, and I will keep him as our captain all season. I don't like removing captains, and unless Otranto goes downhill fast, we ain't losing him out of the team. He's probably peaked, and Otranto is decent for most League 2 sides, and can play that defensive midfield role. So the squad's now my squad now looks pretty healthy. Dewhurst remains on loan, Morgan Whitaker remains on loan, but we'll take you through that for our first game. What does that mean for the club vision? Well, we signed a new contract, and the club vision just playing high tempo football. We are still on course to remain within the wage budget. They're delighted that we're playing that high tempo. They give me a B as a rating. They're concerned about the deal for Chiori Johnson, which we'll talk about in a minute, but they are pleased with Lasse Sorensen. They are pleased with the quality of the pressing style used and the level of support into the squad. Let's go back to the transfers then and have a look who has left us this season. So, Steve Tunga we already knew about. He joined AFC Wimbledon. That was completed a £150,000 transfer, a nice £150,000 profit. We've loaned out James Norris, Ben Elliott, Tyler Morton, Kwaku Odoru, Levi Lang, Daniel Oyegoki, Jeremy Kiezu, Bashir Humphries, Jason Saraha. We have then released Leon Valentin, who joined Dover, Kamari Paris, who joined Slough. We've loaned out Salido, Zenko, Wiggett. We sold Romario Vieira to Hereford on a free transfer. We've loaned out Max Robson, Louis Lomas. The reason why I'm going through some of these quickly is because we've already met them. Sallard, Fiseo Deli Bashiru, and then we let Chiori Johnson go to Shrewsbury for £29,000. Harun Chowner, who went to US Legay on a free transfer. Elian Demirovic, who went to Sareno on a free transfer. Jordan Doherty, who went to York for £14,500. We loaned out Xavier Simmons. Christian Gomez joined Forest Green for £625. Mauricio Pochettino joined Bromley on a free transfer. Bilal Hadraoui joined Exeter for 16.25k, and Mikel Caro, who joined York City for 13.25k. One of the reasons why we've got rid of so many, because I'd have been quite happy to keep them on the wages some of them were on at £65 and £70. They're only part-time. We have gone full-time. They wouldn't sign contracts that were realistic and not just doubling the wage. They wanted 4 or 5 times as much. So we've shipped them out off the wage budget, a little money in. We've now sold £225,000 worth of talent. We have only spent 110,000, 8k on Pilkington, 100k on Kane Wilson. I don't think we've spent any more money. So if we go now and have a look at our squad depth. So the squad depth, as you can see, Dewhurst is far and away one of the best keepers in the division. Idris Shiak is his understudy. We also have a few keepers to back up, so we've got strength in depth there. We have Kane Wilson on the right, and we have, Usman Stefanos, who can play as his backup, with Odemir, who can fill in if we get lots of injuries. One thing I was confident of that I'm now not as confident is De La Fuente, Obe, Odemir and Odesina. who continue to swap positions of who is rated the highest, because they're all progressing, because they're all young, but they're probably not as good as what we expected them to be, and so we may struggle defensively. We have Jaden Brown and backup of Solar on the left. Kane Wilson can play there, but we're struggling beyond that, although we do have Morgan Boys. So I'm not overly worried, just a little bit probably hesitant to say I'm confident in what we've done, but I am definitely confident on the right. I think Jaden Brown will be a good player on the left. We do have strength in depth in central defence, it's just whether they are good enough. So Ochanto remains our best defensive midfielder. We've got Estrada and a whole host who can play in behind, but Ochanto will remain in there this season. And in the central midfield we have Deli Basharu and potentially Sorensen to come into play in those two slots, but we also have Magoma, we also have Otranto that can play there, and Estrada can play there, so I'm quietly confident in that, because we've got three in those central midfield positions that can definitely walk straight in if we wanted to play that. But we also have Otranto. What I may look to do is we may need another defensive midfielder, because we've let go of Doherty and we only have Estrada there. On the right hand side we have Myton, Whitaker can also play there, we have Kyra Matang who's remained at the club, Zerbin can also play there, we have Whitaker who can play on the left, and Zerbin who needs to sign a new contract, we'll talk about that in a minute, and Myton can also play there, and Kyra can play there. Let's have a look at Zerbin. Zerbin hasn't signed a new contract as yet. He is on £600 a week on a part-time contract till 2022. I do want him, and he was strangely odds on to be the top scorer in the division when they released those odds, which was a bit strange, I thought, especially as he's only scored 6 in 17 last season, doesn't have a prolific history, and isn't our best striker when you look that we've got Stansfield, Santa Cruz, Morgan Whitaker, Pilkington and Kyra Matang ahead of him. So it was a strange one, but I'm hopeful in the second round of negotiations Zerbin will sign that contract, and that's why we've hung on to him. Stansfield is our best striker, Santa Cruz our second best, Whitaker can play there, we also have Pilkington to fill in. So where do we stand in the media dream team? We're now 4th favourites, so the media believe the work that we've done gives us a good squad for the season, which is quite good. We still have some work to do, which I'll come on to. We don't have anybody in the Dream 11, and one of the reasons is because Sunderland have dropped down to this division, Doncaster are in with us, and then the likes of Bristol Rovers, but it's mainly made up of Sunderland players. Will Grigg, George Dobson, Evans, Maguire, Duffy. You see, it's just, apart from McGinley, Blackett and Elliott, it literally is a Sunderland Dream Team 11, and their best players are Dobson and Willis. So midfielder, is he midfielder? Yeah, it's George Dobson, yeah, and Jordan Willis the centre back. So we're in for a tough time when we come up against Sunderland, who shouldn't be in this division. Our best players, Marcus Dewhurst again, according to the media, and Lassie Sorensen, so I will have to find a place for him. But when we came up, I think we were rated around 12 to 1, so around mid-table position, and I think that's what we're looking for this season, a top half position. If we look at the club info, favoured personnel, Angel, Wayne Bradley and Adam Hall, that hasn't changed, but we remain on there. The strange one though, that's why. So Umberto Otranto has now gone from icon, and he's a legend. Only one other person is a legend, and that is Nicky Law. So Umberto Otranto will hold my midfield together this season. Whether he is there for the next season, we don't know, but he will be there this. Now, if we also have a look at the key player is Marcus Dewhurst. Now this guy is operating at League 2 level, but is a potential Premier League goalkeeper. He has got some potential still to come. So he's not, his value is only 36.5 grand. He's contracted till 2022. If I can, I want to try and steal this guy on a free transfer. So I'm hoping that it goes under the radar and we manage to get it. I mean, we're only paying £100 a week at the moment, but we will have problems finding a new goalkeeper. Staff wise, we have done some changes round. Michael Timlin comes in as my new assistant manager. A lot of the others had their contracts gone. Have we? Is he? Yes. And so we wanted to make some full time. So Michael Timlin comes in, Dan Kelly, Bobby Geddes, Peter Atherton, James O'Connor was already there, and Rory Elder. The scouting team is now made up: Simon Allen, Chris Llewellyn, Ross Thorpe, Jack Rowland, Paul Farman, and Michael Corcoran. Finance wise, we have 1.2 million still left in the bank. It's hardly been spent. They won't give me any more. We are projected to be in profit for the next 3 seasons, and by the end of 24 we will have lost 200 grand, which is quite nice, but that is all dependent on wage costs going down. Would that be up then back down? So altogether that's pretty good. Sponsorship deals, we are very small, 6k, 1.7, 12.5k. Wage budget 25,450, a transfer budget of 20,000, and we are currently spending 26,503 with 27,058 still to come in. As promised, we are looking at this now. So Fuedas will not be leaving. CJ Egan Riley has rejected a loan move to Plymouth. Wakely looks to be going to Kettering, and Xavier Simmons has rejected to go on loan to Guiseley and Chorley, which is a pain. We are trying to get Cody Drammer in. Now Cody Drammer looks as though we're the only ones in on loan, and he's listed for loan. I'm not sure whether we're going to get him, but Leicester and Wolves have put bids in. So if he wants to remain at Watford, he may accept that. I very much doubt it, but he is some player. Whether we need him or not, with Kane Wilson already there. The other one is Che Cooper, just to strengthen that midfield centre, although I may not be going for that, may not be sanctioning that deal, just simply because Bristol Rovers are interested for one, and I don't need another midfield centre. And so you can see we're walking in with 4 injuries, and Rocky Santa Cruz already needs a rest, which he's obviously going to need, and we haven't bought him to start games. We've bought him till December to keep us going. So that's it. It's a 6-month contract. It's absolutely fine. No more transfer business for you to look at. Tactics wise, Gegenpress back to positive. It's pretty much as it was last season, although I am looking, we've done it, yeah, I set up a tiki-taka with the same formation, just to see if we can have some more options, rather than reverting from a gegenpress to a gegenpress is actually changing the system. So we're training that one up at the moment. The team cohesion's down. We've got a lot of signings that's come in. That also bodes for the dressing room atmosphere, although thanks to the friendlies, which I'll go through in a minute, it is good, and managerial support is very good. The top influences is Umberto Otranto and then Rocky Santa Cruz, but it's Jayden Brown who I gave the captain's armband because he'll be playing more. It makes more sense, and there's no point having a vice captain that knows he's on his way out. And we have Kane Wilson as well, Odesina, Odimeo. They're the ones that are going to move up into that sphere. Then look on to the friendlies, as I always do, lower league, very lower league, and just build up the team cohesion, get them familiar with the formation and the other players. And so it's this one. We had these where we conceded were based on the tiki-taka that I had done, winning 6-1, and then 4-1 there against Matlock. The ratings in the 6-1 really good, but we've been playing well in those 2, 4, 6, 8 straight wins, and now we go into our game against Carlisle. So that's the end of this episode. On the next episode, we are going to be playing our first 2 games of the season. We're going to be playing Carlisle at home as Angel returns to North Street, and then we'll play Morecambe away. And then we'll get on with the season and see where it takes us. I'm Adam, thanks for watching. See you on the next episode.